Welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to join your friends to get your gaming goodness every Monday. My name's Tom Blight, and joining me on the couch this week, Kieran Marchant.
It's I, Kieran Marchant, yep. Mm-hmm.
And Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here. It's a good week. Yeah.
It's a good week.
Okay.
Good games have come out. People have got their comeuppance. It's been good.
Got him. Oh.
Bloody hell, okay, actually.
Last of Us pun, maybe. I don't know. So today on the show, EA Play and Pokemon Presents game wrap-up announcements, as well as details about an online PAX event, and there's a new Crash Bandicoot game leaking. Firstly, I want to go over quickly. I just want to shout out a couple games to wrap up the Guerilla Collective stuff, because of course days 2 and 3 happened after last week's recording on Sunday. They happened at Monday. No, they happened Sunday night and then Monday morning, whatever it was.
Yep.
So firstly, shout out to Gory Cuddly Carnage. Ash saw this one, I know. Yep. I don't know what you do. So the description for this game is, are you ready for a third-person hoverboarding hack and slash with lots of blood, toys, glitter, and adorable cuteness? Then Gory Cuddly Carnage is perfect for you. And in this game, you play as a cat riding a jetboard, and then you're fighting
with a hoodie.
Yeah, with a hoodie, and then you're fighting like unicorns and other things. I don't know if it'll be good.
Hashtag cuties.
Yeah, but what a trailer. So that is definitely one that stood out. I don't know. Once again, don't know if it's good. Great trailer though. Second thing from day 2 I want to shout out is the Jane Silent Bob Chronic Blunt Punch game. This is a side-scrolling beat-em-up arcade-style game. However, I think that this looks a lot better than the one they just put out, because the one they just put out is like a 16-bit era type thing, and I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't really super excite me. This one, though, has way more interesting stylized art, and the animations look a lot more, what would be the proper word, like fluent, interesting, like the variation in them just looks like, this looks fun. I didn't have too much interest in the Jane Silent Bob game that came out late last year or early this year, whenever that was, but this one I'm interested in checking out. And then we have another weird one. So this one's called Calico or Calcio. I think it might be Calcio.
Calico?
Calico? Yeah, sure.
Calico.
And so the description for this one: Calico is a day-in-the-life community sim game where you are given an important and adorable task. Rebuild the town's cat cafe and fill it with cute and cuddly creatures. Build up your cafe by filling it with cute furniture, fun decorations, yummy pastries, and get it bustling with animals again. So this is one that grew over me, because I remember the first time there was a teaser trailer shown somewhere. I was like, yeah, I don't know about this. And then they showed this longer trailer on day 2 or whatever. You're like riding around on bears and big cats, and it looks like a weeb game, but maybe not a weeb game. I don't really know. There's a point where there's like a cat on the character's head, and they're just like sitting there chilling, eating. And there's another part where they're like going through a wintry forest when there's wolves. I don't know what the fuck's going on in this game, but it's got lots of cute animals. Looks like a bunch of fun, maybe. Then you got Nuts. The description for this is a single-player surveillance mystery set in a remote forest. Record the squirrels, report your findings, and uncover the secret that the curious creatures are hiding. So watching this trailer reminded me a lot of Firewatch, I think, I would say is a pretty evident inspiration for this, possibly. But you're like setting up cameras. It's got like this sort of stylized art or whatever, but it seems you're out in the middle of this wilderness forest type thing or whatever, and you're basically trying to, I guess, discover the secrets of squirrels, because squirrels have secrets, I guess.
Well,
maybe.
That's where secret squirrel business comes from, you know?
There you go.
Squirrels have secret business, and you've got to really keep an eye on them, pesky little buggers. That
is true. And then the last game was shown during day 3. It was called Say No More. I never heard this one before either. But it's got this like blocky art style or whatever. And then I'm pretty sure the whole concept of the game is just simply going around yelling the word no at your co-workers and boss. And as you yell the word no at them, it's like you hurt them or send them flying back. The description for the game says, say no more. See, it's like a play on words. It's not say no more. It's say no more. Say no more.
So you've got to say no more.
Say no more. Yeah.
More.
Well, don't
more.
yell to say your no bit. Just
say no.
No.
More, yeah.
No.
Is a one-button game that is all about saying no and a stolen lunchbox. Defend yourself against mean colleagues and bosses, find mixtapes, discover the power of friendship, and learn to say no. More.
What if somebody's like, hey, found your lunchbox. It was all a big misunderstanding. Do you want it back?
Nah, too bad.
And then your only chance is you got to say no. And then you're like...
No, too bad. I don't know what's... The trailer's great. There's like... At one point, the character like puts headphones on. It sounds like they're like listening to an self-help tape where the person's like, you need to learn how to say no more. And then they basically go on a barrage through the office just yelling no at people and knocking them over. Looks like a great time. Looks like a great stress reliever. You know what I'm saying? To help you.
I know what you mean. No, I mean.
Yeah.
Nice post-retail game to play.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the couple 5 games I picked over those 2 days. I just wanted to quickly shout out. Overall, I'd say, like as a wrap-up thing, that Guerilla Collective was a fantastic event. I like the way they put it on because obviously I watched all 3 days. I think they could have cut it to 2 days is my only thing because there was a lot of double dipping between the days. And then I think it would have worked a lot better as just day one, the showcase with like lots of trailers and whatever else. And then day 2 have the longer dev talk stuff because that's what day 3 was. And it's like day 2 just felt a little bit like the deleted scenes. Yeah, it was like there's some cool stuff here, but all the major stuff was in day 1. So maybe we could have just had a 2-day event and made this all work. You know, maybe say no more to some of these games and just got it down to less games. Maybe I don't know. But overall, that was great. All right, so let's get into some stuff that's happened this past week, and we'll start with the big one when it comes to Kieran's life, because between The Last of Us and one other game, that was his whole year set up. Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed.
Did we launch that Cyberpunk podcast?
No. It was the thought process we had about it that led to it getting delayed.
The joke about doing one caused it to be delayed.
Even just the joke about doing one caused it. So they wrote on their Twitter, we've decided to move the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 from 17th of September to November 19th. Those are you familiar with the way we make games know that we won't ship something which is not ready. Ready when it's done is simply not a phrase we say because it sounds right. It's something we live by and we all know that we'll take that to heart. And they continue on to say at the end, and I don't know, because this part was interesting because they're like, this week, journalists from all over the world are starting to independently play the game. We're eager and quite stressed to hear their opinions, as well as your reactions when they publish their previews right after we air Night City Wire on the 25th of June. Blah, 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 blah. Now, the funny thing about that was I saw several high-profile journalists quote retweet this after this went out and be like, I don't have a review code. A preview code. I don't have a preview code. Like I saw lots of high-profile people being like, we don't have preview codes. So I'm quite intrigued to see who
has these codes?
Who has these magical preview codes? Because like the people I'm talking about were, you know, like high level.
Only Polish journalists.
Maybe they only gave it to like IGN and like one of it. Maybe they only gave it to like 2-3 people, not like 10, 12.
Maybe they had.
It's weird though that they've handed out review codes.
Well, it's
preview codes.
Previews. So it'd probably be like a level you could play. Like it'll probably be
it's not the full game. It's just a
the level that they played through in their 16-minute gameplay video. That's probably what you've got. Is probably all that. Just play.
It could be that again, because the important thing you got to remember is, although we've seen lots of people write about this game, talk about this game, anytime press has seen this game, it's always been hands off.
Yes, that's true.
So no one's ever actually got to play this game properly, you know, as far as I'm aware. So
So this would be, if there had been an E3 this year, journalists would have had hands on this.
Probably, yeah.
That's
probably what it would have equaled.
At the end of the day, with this kind of preview code, I don't think it'd be a safe thing or a good thing to give the preview code out to that many journalists and people. I think give it to a select few, make it something exclusive for their brands, and build up hype that way instead of oversaturating people with access to parts of your game when it's not near release yet.
Maybe. Don't know. Usually when big games do preview coverage, many outlets will get it, and maybe that's changed. Maybe when they put this up, they just hadn't contacted heaps of the big name places. But we'll find out soon because the Nightwire thing is this week, right?
Yes. 25th.
Yeah,
So 4 days time.
Yeah.
Well,
Do you-
3DS stuff.
Do you think it's interesting they even mentioned that there were journalists that are going to preview the game? Because I feel like that's the thing that in this comment some people have been latching on to being pretty pissed off about.
I don't understand why they're annoyed about it. I've seen several of these comments, and I just think they're dumb idiots.
Even if people are pissed off about it, they don't realize that this will just be a small demo, a very short part of the game. Like, it won't be
The thing that gets
polished,
me, though,
perfect.
lots of these people are saying if you're able to give press a build for a preview, why can't you put it online for everyone to play as a demo? It's like these people have never heard of press exclusive coverage, which has been around for, I don't know, the whole entire gaming industry. Like,
Very much so.
like it's not something new.
It's like when press screeners happen, like for movies, like a week or two before the
Yeah,
actual
they'll
movie
literally do
comes
things
out.
where it's like, I watched the first 20 minutes of Inception or some shit, you know? And here's what
Yeah.
I thought about it.
Yeah, and it's just like, that's just like, it's there, and you can't have somebody be like, you don't hear any like movie guys be like, well, why can't you release that for everybody to watch?
Yeah, just put the first 20 minutes online for everybody, motherfucker.
It's like just it's a way of publicizing their game, and as you know, even though people don't like to realize it, reviewing and media is another way of getting publicity for your games. That's just for these companies. That's the bare truth of the matter, is getting your game out there to as many eyes without actually having to do something like a full scale demo.
As to why they put it in the note, I would say because they expected people to get excited about there being more Cyberpunk coverage coming, like stuff to read and watch potentially.
And
I don't know if they're
positively.
doing video coverage. You know, like here, like we've got this thing coming up and then you'll have more stuff to read about that. Here's some content to tie you over. And instead it got turned into this thing where a bunch of angry gamers were getting shitty about it for some reason. The other thing I want to point out about this before we move on, because it is important to bring up, when they delayed the game originally in February, whatever it was, the head of the studio, what's his name? I don't know, it's here somewhere, but Adam Badowski, I think it was him, in an interview back in February when they originally delayed the game, told investors, because they're an open company or whatever, that they would be in crunch from then until now. They were going to do like 5-6 months of crunch or whatever, and they said that was necessary. Now they've delayed the game again. Now I'd like to inform everyone that they probably haven't delayed the game so they can stop doing the crunch. Delaying the game means they have extended the crunch time, which means they will have done nearly a year of crunch by the time this is out. And we don't need to spend much time on this. I just want to point it all out because I know this is like a narrative that like I'm kind of getting sick of seeing, which is every time a game's delayed, you see a million people write the comment of a good game, a delayed game, you know, that fucking
It's
quote
good
or
for
whatever.
developers and stuff.
Yeah,
it's
like oh, this is good for you. It's like look good. Take all the time you need. Blah 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 blah. You know, all this sort of stuff. Like it's good for us as gamers that a game's delayed because it means we'll get a better product. That doesn't mean it's good for developers when a game's delayed. Most likely not.
What do you think about this date now falling around the time that we believe new consoles are going to be launched?
It's weird because they've announced that, and they announced this even though it was already a known thing, but it's like, they're like, hey, the game will be backwards compatible. We're aware. That's how games work when they say your console's backwards compatible. And then they announced that the PS5 and Xbox One, Series X, versions will come sometime next year. So that is weird. So if this launches around the time the consoles will, which is like 99%, I feel, good bet at this time. It's only going to launch as a PS4 version. And let's say the PS5 comes out. Let's say the PS5 comes out November 12th, right? Let's say it comes out like the week before. Going to go buy my PS5, and then in what world am I going to play this on my PS4? I'll play it on my PS5. It'll get slight improvements, but it's still going to feel weird to be playing a PS4 disc, you know, in my
But that's
PS5.
the thing where, for me, I've already resigned to the fact that I'm playing Cyberpunk on my PC. So it's like, well, I don't really care about consoles and how this affects that. But at the same time, it's like, well, do Xbox come out in their July conference and say,
no, because
also,
that's only first-party games.
Yeah, but could they do something like that?
No, it'd be weird.
Could do. Could. Maybe. Maybe CD Projekt Red's become a first party?
No. Imagine that.
Imagine that world and how glorious that world would be.
Yeah. I think the timing's just obviously they were trying to hit that September date and it would have been less of an issue, and obviously they've had to delay it because they're running into, I would presume, lots of bug fixing is the major hang up here, because they said the game's playable and they're saying it's just bug fixing, but I mean it's a pretty major bug fix I think they're probably doing. And then just having to delay it obviously is just putting the game in such a weird position where it's like coming out when next gen started, like not right at the end of it, but right as it's starting. What a weird time.
It could have an effect on people that might be umming and ahhing about buying a console on launch, and if Cyberpunk's a priority for them, and they're just like, well, I'm going to be playing Cyberpunk. I'm not going to be touching any of these new games just yet. I may as well wait until Christmas to buy
I would say we don't know the launch lineup, so it's hard to tell. I would say for an Xbox player, then probably a lot of people will just do that anyway, because Xbox is all about like you taking 10 years to buy their console, because apparently they give zero fucks. But if PlayStation has a bunch of good first party or like a good launch lineup, we know it's not Horizon that was announced, but Spider-Man might be a thing and whatever else. So it's really going to depend, I think. Talking about what could potentially be coming up later this year, though. Who wants to put in their bets now? Let's put in our bets now. Right. So Warner Bros. Games announced they're doing a DC Fan Dome event where they're going to show off movies, TV, fucking whatever else, and of course they're going to talk a little bit about the video games. Now, Kieran, do you think that actually it's going to happen? But actually, is it going to happen? Of course, I mean the Batman game.
No, fuck that. I don't even want to think about that game at the minute, because you know what? If it gets announced in August, that is almost 12 months from when it was first teased. Because I believe it was first teased October last year.
It was teased like a little bit before the Game Awards.
Game Awards or something. And I want to say October 31st or something it was teased. Because it was very close to Halloween, if not Halloween itself. It depends I think it solely depends on if this whole Warner Brothers game division kind of gets being sold, kind of gets worked out, and kind of and yeah, I think if that gets worked out, maybe, but I don't even want to pretend like that game's coming out. I'm just gonna wait until it comes out, and then I'll be like, yeah, cool, fuck you guys.
Ash?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident it's going to be announced there.
He's pretty confident. He's pretty confident.
I think Ash has said something similar to this before, though.
I mean, I'm a little bit more confident because apparently this week Warner Brothers registered the domain name GothamKnightsGame.com.
I thought he was going to say Court of Owls game you've been waiting for.com. So that's fine.
But they've also registered SuicideSquadGame.com as well. So
could get both. There's been both have been long rumored, so
yeah. So
we've always wondered.
The game would be the WB Montreal. Yeah. The Rocksteady game would be the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, which has been.
And then they'd probably talk about DC Online. I suspect those would be the three. Yeah, the DCU Online game that's been out for forever. Yeah. Those would
since
be like
the launch of the
things
PlayStation 4.
Since the
3,
those would be the things I suspect they'd talk about.
Yeah, it was on PlayStation 3. Yeah, correct.
It's on everything now, so.
Yeah,
they brought the Switch last year.
My other question is, so just to tie this in here as next round, I say it's going to be there because I feel like if I don't say it at this stage, then I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, I can't anymore.
The only way it doesn't happen is if they do sell it and whoever's buying it doesn't want to pay the licensing, so all the games end up cancelled.
Don't say that.
In a Star Wars
1313
situation.
Oh God, not again. Not again.
So I'm at yes, Ash is at yes, Kieran's at no. Here's the second round of questioning. Will they show, because obviously if they're going to talk about games, even if they announced Batman, and that's like the end of the game announcements, maybe they show a couple other quick things. I could see them obviously showing the Lego Star Wars game that's coming out. And then maybe
Lego Star
else.
Wars game?
Yeah, because like even though it's a
DC event, I feel like they're going to stay on topic.
Yeah, I don't
You
see
reckon
them.
though?
I see them maybe saying, "Hey, this is some random DC Lego game we've been working on." Like just randomly. I
Lego Batman 4.
Yeah, something like that. I can see definitely happening. I can't see them straying too far off the beaten path with anything else.
Not just I mean, like, because obviously it's a DC event, but maybe if they go, if
Why
they're
would
there,
you want?
yeah, but I mean, like a quick 1 minute, like montage.
But why would you want anything that's tied to Disney and / tied to Marvel being
'Cause
anywhere
it's
near your DC event?
It's made by the peeps. Peeps. How about Harry Potter's? Is that cancelled?
No, Harry Potter. I think you have more of a chance of that happening than you do
Not at the DC
Star
event, though.
Wars. But no, I still don't think of the DC event.
So let's say this question then. Do you think the Harry Potter game will come out full stop?
Yes.
Eventually, in some form or another, and it might be garbage because somebody's like, "Here, just take it. Just get it out of there. Just we're done working on it. Just
I mean,
have it
how
as it
good
is."
the trailer be is like not written by Jake.
I don't think they
Yeah.
do that.
I was about to say that's going to be a. I don't think they can announce it for like quite some time now.
Also true. Also true.
I think they're kind of up shit creek because of her, but that's fine. All right, let's go next one. So PAX Australia was cancelled. RIP. I'll see you all in another year's time, I guess. I was seeing Red heading outside, but there you go. But they have announced that they are doing a online event. So they cancelled both PAX Australia and they cancelled PAX West, which was the last American PAX thing that was going to be left. And then they announced they're doing PAX Online, a brand new PAX event where they're basically trying to do as much of everything that would have been PAX, but making it bigger. And also it's going for 9 days, which is very fucking long. But they said they're going to have panels. They're taking panel submissions now. But it's weird to call them panels because I'm like, at this stage, it's just people streaming a fucking podcast, right? I mean, is that not just what the panels are now? Like, come on. They're trying to get developers and games, etc., set up so they can do sort of online demos. And I'm sure like dev streams, stuff like that, which I've seen done pretty good by different events throughout the year, including this week with the Steam summer gaming event thing. And then they also said they're going to have an esports event. You can buy merch if you want. And they've mentioned they're going to have exclusive game reveals, blah, 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 which we never usually get here, obviously. No, we don't get PAX Australia. However, PAX West and East usually have, medium level announcements by certain publishers and devs there. So, this all adds up. But what do you think, Ash? Do you think you're looking forward to this? Do you think this is a medium fix? You ready to head online to PAX?
I mean, it's fine. I mean, the most joy I get from PAX is like seeing you guys in person, that kind of mingling with our group and that kind of thing. Of course, the games are like close second. But I don't feel like it will be the same experience. Obviously, it can't be the same experience. So, and 9 days seems a bit extreme.
Yeah, it's weird.
I really hope
unless they're gonna greenlight every single panel that anybody submits. Like
maybe it's because it's two events cancelled, so they're like, we want to try and get a good mix of like American and Australian people. You know what I mean?
Is it going to be 24 hours a day?
Probably not. I doubt it.
What time PAX usually go? Like 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. or some shit?
Yeah.
Well, but it would also be interesting
for who?
It'd be interesting if they ran
us or US.
It'd be interesting if they ran like a PAX America one during their time slot, and then the PAX Oz one during the Australian kind of more time slot. In terms of especially, I feel like the biggest loss with PAX, even outside of just us seeing each other and hanging out and seeing our kind of extended circles, I think it's a big loss for independent Australian game developers because it's a really big chance for them to get their game out to the wide public and get people hands-on with their game in a way that they just don't get that kind of interaction and eyes on their product. So I really hope that this isn't just kind of a PAX America focused event. I really hope that they talk to developers that would have been at PAX OCE or Australia and really...
The developers can still submit like they would
Yes.
usually, so...
Yeah, but I mean, it's just a competition thing. It's like when they're at PAX, like they're clearly the focus because they're pretty much the only indie games that'll be there. If they're at this, they're going to be competing with indie games all across the world.
Yeah. And there's definitely something different about going to a con, walking past something, it catches your eye, either by an art display there or just like catching a glimpse of the monitor and what's happening compared to scrolling down a list of games with just their key art. And if the key art doesn't grab you, then you're like, move on.
Even
or
just
like walking past the same game like 4 or 5 times, like I'll come back to that later.
Or just you walk past and you notice that there is one particular game or booth that is just always has people crowded around it, and it's.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
packed.
That's the only advantage. There will potentially be no lines.
Yeah, there'll be no lines. You'll see it. There's an opportunity, and I think it's going to be hard for Australian game developers, and that's why I really hope that PAX kind of gives opportunity to Australian developers to show their work with maybe I don't know. It's hard to say without being an equal challenge to like the rest of the world's indie developers. Like it'd be really nice if they weren't like this is like the Australian indie developers kind of time slots where anybody from Australia could show their game and really bring that into the fold.
Great. We'll find out more, obviously, I guess I'd say during July. I would expect to hear some more exactly what's happening and what's going on. So look out for more on that. So quickly go over this. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's a leak and it's most likely, 99% getting announced this week. But Gematsu, Jesus. The Taiwan Digital Game Rating Board Committee has rated the unannounced Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's developed by Spyro Reignited Trilogy Studio Toys for Bob. They have box art here for the game in the article, and then the description accompanying the rating says, Crash is relaxing and exploring his island in his time, 1998, when he finds a mysterious mask hidden away in a cave. Lani Loli, the mask is one of the quantum masks and apparently knows Aku Aku, Crash's mask friend. With the quantum masks returning and a quantum rift appearing near our heroes, they decide to bravely head through to different time zones and dimensions to stop whoever is responsible. So this is legit because also many outlets were sent a 200-piece puzzle. In Australia, one of those, the Press Start got sent one and they posted up pictures about it, and the puzzle pieces were sent. It was sent by Activision. It's like, here's a tease, you open up the box, make the puzzle, it makes the mask. I'm going to presume the mask is this, what's it called? Lani Loli, I guess, is what the mask was in the picture. So
Lani
this is getting it. Lani Loli, there you go. I would guess this is so this is legit. In the, it's probably getting announced on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. I can't remember off the top of my head. One of those is when Jeff Keighley's doing another event. I think it's just called like Developer Showcase or something in the summer gaming summer gaming event thing. That's all it says at the moment. So I think it's most likely getting announced in that, and that's kind of what the rumors are. I'm excited. It's another Crash Bandicoot. I think it's interesting that they've officially committed this one to being called Crash Bandicoot 4, because after they made 3 Warped on the PS1, every Crash after that never was called 4. It was always just some subtitled thing. And I can't remember exactly what the first PS2 one was called. It was trash anyway, but that was not called 4. It was called like Crash Bandicoot something, and it was more like a proper like 3D Mario World one where you like roam around this island or whatever. But it wasn't very good. I didn't like it. I chucked my disc in the bin. I didn't really. It's fine.
There was
Crash Wrath of Neo Cortex rings a bell for some times. Or
yes,
something?
Crash Bash, Wrath of Cortex, Huge Adventure, Entranced.
It'd be Wrath of Cortex, I think.
Yeah, Wrath of Cortex was that one.
Twin
Crash
Sanity.
Bash was pretty cool.
Yeah.
There was also
Crash Bash was a PS1.
Crash Boom Bang.
Crash Bash,
Crash of
because
the
it was
Titans.
like their version of like Mario Party. It was like Crash.
I played a bunch of that with my friend in primary school.
Yeah, I remember doing the same. And then I remember the only other ones I remember was like Clash of Monsters on like Xbox 360 and PS3 or something, or Clash of Titans or something.
Crash of the Titans.
Titans.
Crash
that
of
was
the
it.
Titans. There we go. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll obviously find out more when we talk about the trailer, but just in general, would you play this, Kieran?
Yes, I had a laugh about the title of the game because
It's about
I
time.
like
Yeah.
it's about time. I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty funny that it has like that double
Good pun.
meaning.
Good pun.
The other thing that made me giggle, I giggled there when you were reading out the potential synopsis for the game because it feels like every one of these mascotty type games needs like a time traveling storyline.
But they did it in 3.
Yeah, they did it in 3, and they did it in 3, and then also
And
I
2
was just thinking of when you were reading it. I was thinking of Sly, like the fourth one is Thieves in Time or something.
Thieves Raccoonist or something. I don't know. Yeah, Thieves in
No,
Time.
it's the first one. I think it's
yeah,
Thieves in Time or something, and it's about
Going through history.
Sly going
Stealing
through
items,
history and saving his ancestors and stuff to stop something. So
Yes.
it's just very, it's like, oh yeah, this is but I think at the same time, it's going to have that Crash humor. It's going to have I hope it has that continued level design that we really loved and that was polished really well in the Insane trilogy. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, obviously I'd be keen for this. I really love the trilogy. And I'm hoping if they're making when they made a fourth one, they took it like, not as, everyone just loves Crash, let's try and make a fucking completely different thing that's nothing like 2 or 3, the reason that everyone brought and played that trilogy. I'm hoping they were like, what do people love about these games? And obviously let's change some things and update it and make it more for 2020, but at the same time keep that general platforming goodness that people enjoy about those games with this similar sort of level design and stuff. Because I obviously after Naughty Dog stopped making these games, every other developer after they could not get it. They could not get it. So I'm hoping
they tried too hard to be something else. I think it's taken so long for other people being like, let's make this into a Mario World game. Let's make some kind of, let's turn this into Skylanders, because that's what happened to Crash. It got turned into Skylanders.
What happened to Spyro, so.
Yeah, exactly. Like it went into Skylanders. And I think this is them going, okay, we've realized that these 3 here, these are the ones that people love. Let's take this style of gameplay and move forward, update it, and bring it back into be a proper number 4 to that.
Ash, you have any more thoughts on Crash?
I mean, it'd be interesting to see if they do stick to, obviously, the 1, 2, 3 format, or they go more open world like they did in the other games, or more like Spyro, which is what the developers' last game was. Toys for Bob. They did the Spyro trilogy.
Look, I'm down for a hub world that you can explore and find secrets in that has level gates where you go to different, more classical type Crash levels.
Go full Spyro.
Yeah, I'm down for full Spyro.
Have some random levels of Crash Team Racing style racing levels every now and then.
You've sold me. I'm all about it.
Just go all in. Take the good stuff from all of the games and put them together. Let's just
all about it.
Okay.
It's A-okay.
Maybe.
What if you travel to Spyro's world?
Also, make sure there is an infuriating level filled with bats and stuff, so that we can recreate the wonders of Dylan's Twitch stream when he played through the Insane.
That was a bridge that is constantly falling away, and is a terrible designed level. Absolutely.
No, the one you rage quit on was was with the bats and stuff.
I think I rage quit more than once, so I don't know.
Well, the one where you stopped the stream and then said, "I'll be back tomorrow."
Crash Bandicoot 1. What a game, eh? What a game, Absolutely classic. Love it. Can't believe that was the first time I ever beat it. I mean, it was. That was the first time I actually ever beat that game properly. Was in the trilogy thing. So yeah, we'll find out more. Talk about this later next week, obviously.
Interesting. Wikipedia has it listed as coming out 9th of October.
Yeah, that's the leak date, and I'd presume that's probably right.
Okay,
because this whole thing's just leaking. There's a fucking gas leak somewhere in Jeff Keighley's house. So,
which once again, very weird date. Which you're like, is this a next gen console game or not?
No,
weird.
No, it's just like the month before. It's fine. Also, if they're going to target kiddies or something like that, most of them will not, unless they're highly privileged, be getting next gen consoles for at least 6 months to a year, I'd presume. So. I don't think it really matters for a game like Crash to come out towards the end of the year. It doesn't affect anything. So we've got 2 presentation things, conferences, whatever you want to fucking call them. I don't know. So we've got EA Play and Pokemon Presents to go through. We're going to go through EA Play's thing first and then the Pokemon Presents. So EA Play was hosted by Mr. Greg Miller from Kind of Funny, of course. And it went for about
50
an hour.
minutes. About 50. It was about 50 minutes all up.
There you go.
45, yeah.
Yeah.
So before
Can I say,
I was about to say, what are your overall thoughts before we go announcement by announcement type thing?
I was super worried about this event when, I can't remember his name, but the CEO was talking at the start, and he was
Andrew Wilson,
and he was not too personable in his speech section. Like, I was like,
no, it's because he's a piece of shit.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. His eyes just...
Or he was reading a teleprompter.
Reading a teleprompter. He wasn't very, he didn't seem to move any... Like, his head moved, but nothing else below his neck moved at all. And it didn't look like he was blinking, so it was very upsetting. And I was like, oh no, is this what it's going to be like? And then Greg Miller came on, and it's like, oh, okay, you've got somebody with actual charisma and personality to present this. And I think Greg did a fantastic job of linking everything together. The interview sections that Greg had were fun.
I mean,
and
he could share the wealth around though, Yeah, but yeah, the Guerilla Collective job. Now he's taking the EA job. What's Andrea Renee doing?
I mean, I guess it's because she moved out of San Fran.
But it was going to be they said it was going to be somewhere else.
It was going to be in Los Angeles, but they recorded all of Greg's stuff in San Fran.
Obviously, Greg, during COVID times, they did not record that in Los Angeles. They recorded it in San Fran, probably. Most likely.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I would be willing to bet money that was filmed in San Fran.
Yeah.
Because that's where
they could have gotten somebody else, though, is all I'm saying. I know he did it last year, but...
Yeah, but I guess, like...
he didn't do it last year.
He did a segment last year.
Did he?
Yeah, but it could just be a combination
because they did a bunch of dev things last year. It wasn't like
enough.
this.
It's probably just a combination of they need someone to do it. They need someone they can trust because they're trying to do it on a strict tight budget, time-wise and whatever else. And they need someone who can come in and they've had experience with. So it's like, fuck this. Because I feel like they must have only recorded it like a couple days before it went live, I would guess. Like, I don't think they recorded it like too far ahead of time. So anyway, I thought it was okay. Like, I thought it was actually pretty good, but I think I was rating it on like the EA Play scale. This was a very good show from them, but like as a like general showcase, it was like sort of mixed and nothing. It was exciting. But
interesting that the direction of this show was very kind of here and now. Like, it was very much in the next maybe 6 to 12 months was everything that was going on. Whereas I think
was it though?
At the minute, a lot of the shows that we are watching, experiencing, are very looking to the future of gaming and the future of consoles. And I think EA's was a bit more down to earth and a bit more grounded in terms of that kind of scope.
Most of it, yeah. All right, so let's run through. So first thing they showed off, Apex Legends getting a new treasure event. Starts when? 23rd, I think it is. Yeah. Oh, yeah, here it is. June 23rd. Yep. And the big news from this, crossplay, and it's coming to Switch.
I'm super excited.
Think this is very cool.
I'm surprised how much people care about crossplay.
You say that, Ash, but that's because you don't have friends who are only on the Switch that can't play with you. You know, that's
the thing. I'm excited. I'm way more likely to play with you guys on PC than I am to sit down on my console and play the game. Like, I'm so much more likely to jump in and play on my PC and then to jump on and play with the controller.
Is that the only reason? Okay.
Well,
I thought people would be like, yes, there's more people playing the game that I can play against. Or more likely, yes, there'll be more noobs on Switch that I can kill for easy kills each game.
Yeah, man, I feel sorry for anybody playing on Switch.
Yeah, but you can turn it off. You can turn it off. So, like, I feel like the only reason to enable crossplay if you're playing on Switch is because you actually want to play with friends on a different console. Other than that, if I was on Switch, the only other reason I'll turn it on is if I literally couldn't get a match because there's not enough people playing, at which point, obviously, that's when crossplay becomes super helpful. But if you can turn it off and get a match, if I was playing on Switch, it's like you want to play with the people dealing with the same shit that you're dealing with, obviously.
But so, I think it's because then I also think that if it's crossplay, I don't know. I don't think they announced it, but that would then mean that you'd have one account that goes across everything.
I don't know, because that's like
Rather
cross
than-
progression, and I don't know if they've talked about that, and that's something I'm intrigued in finding out
I'd
more
love
as
them to do
well. Because I've
That's a step too far, I think. Or like
why not? Epic does it.
Like,
Fortnite,
Damn straight.
do they?
Destiny's done it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it'll happen.
I just think it's at the end of the day, it's the same people that's getting the money each time. Like when you're buying battle passes, when you're buying these skins and stuff.
Yeah,
I have stuff from when the game first launched on my PC account that I'm like, man, that'd be cool if I can. And then also I'll have the battle pass that I bought on PlayStation 4 and stuff. That'd be really cool. I think that'd be nice to amalgamate it.
Yeah, I think I should have it. People, especially if you just like playing on different things at different times, trying things out. You know, maybe like jumping around. I don't know. Be nice.
It'd be
Fuck around.
nice. I don't think it'll happen though.
Why?
Why actually?
I don't know. Just in my gut, I'm like.
But what in your gut?
You have a worse gut
I
than
mean,
me.
we've talked before. We've talked about like economics. Like you buy your battle pass on PlayStation 4, should you be able to play that on your Xbox?
It
even though
still
Xbox
goes to the
hasn't
same
got.
place though.
No, because PlayStation gets a cut of the battle pass.
Yeah, but that's the same as that's the original reason that PlayStation didn't want to do it with Fortnite. That was the big hang-up, that they wouldn't get the cut. However, PlayStation came around on that and it kind of opened the floodgates. Because now it works on Rocket League, works on fucking Destiny for anything you buy there. Whatever
right,
else, I'm sure there's some other games.
We'll see. It really doesn't matter that much.
No, I was about to say, you're like over here, you're like really sticking up. You're like, oh, damn. Like, if they enable cross progression, then I guess I'll just have to download it onto my laptop and blow it up officially. Like, fucking.
Yeah, wouldn't that be terrible?
Officially blow the sucker up. Yeah. So that's cool. Obviously, I'm keen to try it out on the Switch, though, just with the gyro controls, because I'm sure that'll be a good time. Fucking aiming with my fingers.
Wait, how do you aim on
Gyro.
the PlayStation?
With my thumbs.
Do you not aim with your fingers on
No,
PlayStation?
with my thumbs,
damn
mate.
it,
They're
it's the
different.
thumbs.
Look, here's my fingers.
Shit.
Here's my thumbs.
Damn, I got screwed there.
Hey.
Man, being older really didn't make me any wiser. This sucks.
Limbs.
Oh, no.
Walk straight
so-
into it.
Then they announced that Sims is coming to Steam. Good for you, Steam. Then they,
Everything's coming to Steam, I think.
yeah, they got a few bits. They're like, oh, these things are coming to Steam. This is gonna be coming. So then Dead Space 3, fucking Titanfall, all these things are on there now. That's cool and exciting for Steam. Go look at Steam. Steam has a bunch of.
Can I say, is this EA accepting that Origin sucks?
No, they announced this ages ago. I
know they
think
announced
a couple
it, but
months
is
ago, and then the week of or the week before EA Plays, when they started coming over, and they had a bunch of games on there like Battlefield and Battlefront and whatever else, and they were all front and center on the Steam page, and then they did EA Play, and they're like, hey, here's some more, because sure, I don't really know. Yeah,
Hey, we just make it easy to get your money.
yeah.
It's like, hey guys, everybody get ready to get EA access, everybody, so you can play on Steam and
Get
stuff.
ready for EA games on Epic Game Store next year.
Well, I saw another interesting story, actually, that Titanfall 2 had like 7,000 concurrent players on Steam or something. So the multiplayer was kind of taking off, was finally, because people were playing it on Steam. And like, this game's actually good, hey? So it's like finally getting discovered when it's off Origin. So then the next couple things we had were from the EA Originals, which is their sort of quote-unquote indie/not indie games or whatever they pay for. So the first one was from Haystack Studios, which is Joseph Fares, which is fuck the Oscars guy, which they did show in a clip, although they censored their photo, which was disappointing. But they didn't show much of this game. He kind of had, it was more or less just him talking about his life, which was interesting, and I like that because it kind of works for him because he's become such a character. So having him talk a little bit more about himself, I think kind of worked. It wouldn't work for everyone, but for him, who's kind of hit sort of internet stardom, and people are, I think, would be interested enough in him to not get bored by him explaining who he is, other than the fuck the Oscars guy.
No,
and I think that was fine.
He's become like a big personality, like not obviously not to the degree, but like a Tim Schafer or a Neil Druckmann or someone like that, like a personality people know who makes games.
Yeah, so he can get away with that. It's not like random dev talks about life. So his next game is called It Takes Two. and it is a game in which you control these two dolls. So it's another co-op game because that's what they make. You control these two dolls, and it's they're brought to life by this young girl who is going through an emotional journey about which kind of triggered, I think, from her parents going through a divorce. Is kind of how he set it up, I think.
I'm pretty sure it's actually a co-op action adventure platformer that will blow your fucking mind away.
Okay, sorry. That's the the direct quote that I...
Because you take narrative and mechanics and you just put them together.
And then you split them up so you can play it two players at once.
Yeah. So they didn't show much of the game though, but obviously I'm going to be interested to see more because...
There's mechanics for emotions, Dylan.
Yeah, that's true.
Mechanics for emotions.
I've never played that before. That is true. So the next game we got, well, this one was actually gameplay and stuff, so that was a bit more interesting. From Zoink Games, the developer behind Faye, they announced Lost in Random. So this is a third-person action-adventure game. The art style reminded me a lot of sort of Tim Burton stop-motion animations type looking thing. It looks like once again with I think the PS2 era is sort of coming back a little bit because this one looked like a platformer adventure game, like Alice Madness Returns or something like that. I guess even in line with that sort of thing would be the direction this kind of looked. But I thought it looked cool. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I thought this was the most interesting game of the show.
Of the show, the whole show,
the whole thing, the whole thing.
That's a big call.
I think this was I think the one. This is the one that actually had. Yeah, no, it was the most interesting one of the show for me. I was like, man, somebody has recently watched Nightmare Before Christmas because this has that art style or that kind of animation style all over it.
It's like stop motion or claymation,
claymation.
Claymation.
Yeah. It has dice in it. I fucking love dice. And I was like, man, this sounds great. This sounds like a lot of fun.
I took a drink. Why did you say it after I took a sip of my fucking drink? Fucking love dice. Yeah, you do.
Put that on a t-shirt. I fucking love dice.
Fucking love dice. That'd probably make a good t-shirt. That's right.
The DLC is you get the dice becomes a D8.
Oh my god! And then no. Maybe that's just how the progression happens throughout the game. Is that it levels up?
Yeah,
it levels up, and then eventually it's a D20. It's like holy shit! Anything can happen here, boys. Like just
the difficulty setting.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. I actually wish. You know what? I wish. When at first I was a little disappointed because I was like, man, how cool would it be if like abilities in the game were based on rolling the dice and like if it rolled a 1, it was really shit. If it rolled a 6, it was really good.
So you're talking about Divinity Original Sin or Baldur's Gate or something?
Or freaking Baldur's Gate. Yeah, Baldur's Gate. But yeah, I was like, man, how cool would that be for like a little mechanic in this game? But I really like the art style. I really liked the overall narrative style. I thought looks really fun and interesting. So yeah.
That did not have a date, and It Takes Two did not have a date either. I should have mentioned that before. But the one that does have a date is the third of the originals. Even though after this, I saw people tweeting about this and being like, "Hey, I've seen this game before," and I don't know what happened, but apparently this game, Rocket Arena, was possibly originally called something else, and it seemed like it was originally being shown off by Nexion, who does the Kart Rider games, which I enjoy playing those, and the beta just came for Drift and that game's coming out soon. But anyway, they originally were publishing this, and then something happened and the game disappeared for a while, and it went from a first-person game to a third-person game, and now it's being published by EA. So some weird shit happened at some stage in this game's life, but now it's an EA game. Anyway, I never saw it or heard of it until today, so we'll just focus on our first impressions and treat it like it's a brand new thing. But it is a 3v3 third-person PvP arena shooter where everyone only has rockets. It seems heavily inspired by a Quake, the Quake mode, rockets only.
Called Rocket Mode.
Rockets.
Rocket Arena.
And you got a bunch of heroes. They've all got their own personalities. They've all got their own special abilities. It's sort of your typical description for a PvP game these days. The one thing I'll say about this one, though, because I'm actually keen to try this, it does not seem like it's trying to be a esports game. This one simply seems like it's like fun. It's like grab two friends, have some fucking fun, have a blast. It's very colorful. Looks, obviously, I would say the third person switch and the color design and all that sort of stuff. It seems possibly trying to grab more people that play like Fortnite. Because I swear, I'm like, come on now, you're gonna even slight little things here. I'm like, is it this direction we're going? And just the fact that it's like it's only rockets, special abilities, seems like fun. So I'm okay with this one because I'm like, it's not another game trying to become a major esport. It's simply a multiplayer game where they're like, just have some fun. I thought it looked fun as well, and I'd be keen to try it.
Is this filling the gap of the new, like, instead of, year or two ago where we had a different battle royale every time there was a showcase, now it starts to feel like every time there's a different showcase, there's just a different kind of hero, quirky character-based multiplayer game at the minute that I'm like, because we've had this year, we've had that Demolition Derby one where you get other cards or whatever. I'm like, it just seems
there's always been heaps of multiplayer games. I think it's just the personality based.
Yes, that's what I meant. Like the hero basedness of it seems to just be very kind of
that's pulling off the hotness of obviously Overwatch and Apex and
Apex.
Yeah.
Well, once you add characters to your game, you open up a whole realm of possibilities for merch options and that kind of stuff.
That's true. It's true. Battleborn, obviously, is another one.
Yep. Remember all those Battleborn pops?
I think there was Battleborn towards.
Remember the what was the one that's just come out that failed miserably? Amazon's
Valorant?
One? No, not Valorant. Valorant's doing well, thank you very much.
No, that was the only one I can think of.
No, it was Amazon's one that just came out that flopped.
Bleeding Edge? No, it's not Amazon's, but
No,
but
Bleeding Edge is another one.
That's how bad it was.
Bleeding Edge is another similar, it's a hero based thing, but I mean, I'm fine with it. I mean, look, I would prefer to see more
Crucible.
Oh, there you go.
That's it. Sorry. Thank you, Crucible. Thank you.
I would prefer to just see more people just focusing on making multiplayer games than tacking on multiplayer modes to games that didn't need them, which is what we had between like 2009 to 2012. But that was a dark period, where it's like, why does Tomb Raider need the multiplayer mode? Like heaps of options. Assassin's Creed actually was okay.
Uncharted
was amazing. Uncharted is
the first one was shit. The first version of Assassin's Creed multiplayer was shit. By the time it got to the second or third one, I think it was actually pretty good. But my point still stands. That was a period where developers were basically told, put the multiplayer mode in, put the multiplayer mode in, put the multiplayer mode in. So I'm glad we're kind of out of that and we can just see people do what they want. Talk about multiplayer modes. Let's talk about the multiplayer mode after I talk about single player mode. But Star Wars Squadrons got its official gameplay reveal. They kind of just started this following up on things that they already talked about before, but because me and Ash talked about the trailer briefly on Platinum Explosion earlier on Wednesday, that just went past, we'll go over everything again. So I think the trailer dropped on Tuesday, the cinematic trailer. I think that's how it went. So like basically
Tuesday, very early Tuesday morning.
Yeah, it's like good timing for everything when arcade closed.
Like 1 a.m.
Whatever else and stuff like that. Stayed up to watch it. It was like 2 minutes. It was what I expected. I did not expect more than that. I was like, yeah, this looks cool. That's exciting. Then they released some details online. If you could track them down if you went and found the website. And that was the most interesting stuff from that day because on the website they revealed the game's going to have crossplay out the gate. Fantastic. It's going to have full VR support. What the fuck? I'm actually getting my VR Star Wars ship game, however you want to describe that. So that's fucking crazy. PSVR and PC VR. Full support. Full game in VR. Multiplayer, single player. Play it however you want. Play it crossplay with everyone. What the fuck? This game's sounding too good to be a Star Wars game coming out of EA with many very friendly options for everyone to play along.
It blew my mind the fact that that crossplay is like you can crossplay with people playing in VR.
VR, yeah.
Like that's the thing for me where I'm like, that's cool as shit. Well,
I guess it doesn't make a difference for anyone else. It's just your viewpoint.
Yeah, but it's just very, I don't know, it's just very cool that you can still jump in and play that kind of thing. That's fun.
And the release date is October 2nd. So in the campaign for this thing, you'll be playing as both the New Republic as Vanguard Squadron, who, for both these, it seems like you'll make your characters. So that's another interesting thing. And then you'll play in the Imperials as Titan Squadron. The trailer also featured characters from the Star Wars Extended Universe that made me very happy, like Ray Sloan and Harrison Dula. So Ray
Who are
Sloan, Ray Sloan is the one I'm most excited about because that is not to go too much on like a Star Wars tangent, but she is a character that has shown up in many, many books and was a big part of the early Star Wars Disney book period. Like she was kind of the main bad guy for all of the Aftermath books, and then she was also first introduced in the first Disney canon book called A New Dawn, which introduced Kanan, it introduced Hera, and it introduced Rey. So she was, all of those characters are like day dot, this is the new universe, let's go type thing. And then I was really disappointed she never showed up in any of the fucking movies, considering how big a character she was, and then nothing else. So the fact she's in this is making me super, super happy. But and they didn't say too much about the single player other than the fact it seems it'll be taking place, I would guess, not over a long period of time. And my guess of this is simply because this is taking place after episode 6. And I
think it's directly after, right? I feel like it's very close to after.
Pretty much, because my other thing that I'm going off is that they show Wedge in the trailer, and I tweeted this out, but Wedge in the Aftermath books goes on a mission and he gets like kidnapped and he like tortured a little bit, and then he's kind of out of action for a while up until the Battle of Jakku. So if he's in this trailer, and I highly doubt they're going to do the Battle of Jakku in this, because it would be like, we're so sick of this fucking planet, like it's been in the damn movies.
I don't know. I reckon they would.
I don't think they'll do the Battle of Jakku.
They'll do the
featured.
Yeah, they'll do it
in Battlefront 2.
Yeah, they did it in Battlefront 2.
But they'll do it, and then they'll have the ship that, you know, Rey is in, that she's like stealing stuff from.
No, they did
they'll
that.
Show how it crashes.
They've already done that.
They've already explained that ship. It's in one of the books. It's in the Lost Stars book. Okay.
Yeah, but then they'll actually do it in.
No, don't care.
Kind of live action.
But the thing is, the thing with the books is I don't think they often
There's no visual
the
books.
No, there's no, apart from in your head if you have an imagination.
But they're in their head, and
But now they'll know what the ship looks like.
But they're not discrediting people.
I know what a star.
They're not discrediting people that read the books, because they're like, you read in the books, you're a smarty pants, you know what it looks like. You don't need us to put this on a visual. No, we're good.
Stop shaking your head. So the thing that interests me the most, is the fact that you'll be playing as both sides, and it says you'll basically customize and create your character. So I find that weird, and I don't know if I'm reading too much more to that, or they mean like there is a base for these characters and you'll just get to customize them slightly, or you'll straight up get to create them. I'm like, I don't really understand.
I think you'll get to create them. They'll just have a call sign that they're referred to as
for canon reasons, I guess.
For canon reasons, so that, you know, there'll always be this, you know, Red 6
always
or whatever,
be
for instance. You know.
Maverick.
Maybe.
Always.
Project Maverick. Maybe that's why. I find it interesting you'll play both sides. I think it's cool to play as both sides, because obviously when they were showing off Battlefront 2 originally, a lot of people got excited about the idea of playing as the bad guys, and spoilers, those bad guys turned out to be good guys very fast in the Battlefront 2 campaign. They actually switch sides. If you're
very early.
Yeah, like after like an hour, basically. So you didn't get to play as part of the bad guys for long. So this, I expect the campaign to not be very long. I expect it to have hopefully a good mix of missions that are basically sort of secretly training you for the multiplayer, but also hopefully some more cinematic mission stuff that you just won't get to experience when you play the single player, like do some cool, the multiplayer, do some cool things there. But very much it seems like this game, because also the other thing with this is it's a $60 American game, or so it's a budget price, or not, you know, like cheaper, like it's that mid-tier price, I guess, like it's not a full price game. The big focus is obviously on the multiplayer for this, and that's what they spend a fair chunk of time talking about in this gameplay video. And I really like the way this multiplayer is being set up. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. So, firstly, I like how they're committed. Everyone plays first person. So when you play Battlefront 2, obviously you can sort of switch your viewpoints or whatever else. This time they're like, no, it's designed, everything's first person, because you need to, like, all the game mechanics are designed around being able to see the HUD on your ship and, you know, your missiles, your speed, whatever else. And then they talk about going super into things that aren't in Battlefront 2, like the fact that apparently you'll be able to change it where your deflectors is, and like literally like decelerate your ship and do some Han Solo type drifting in space type shit. And that sounds really cool. They're going to have different sorts of classes, and in the multiplayer, and this is kind of what I thought it would be, but it's like this ship is the tank, this ship is the support ship, this ship is the attacker ship, and then it's 5v5 in no matter what mode you play, and then it's like, okay, so then there's some metagame. Let's all play tanks, and then we'll never die, or let's all play, like two attackers, one support, tank.
I love the idea of like the second game mode they talked about where you're bombing, like it's multiple stage, but you're bombing an enemy like cruiser and stuff. Where I'm like,
the first mode is just called Dogfight, which just is deathmatch basically, and then the one you're talking about is called Fleet Battles, which is going to be the marquee multiplayer mode. And this sounds a lot like Battlefront 2's a lot of their multiplayer modes, where it has several different even the Battlefield games, where it's like several different phases. They have events that tie into stories that are happening, and you'll change locations and backgrounds and even objectives and tasks throughout the mission. Yeah.
Like I even like they said, you can like talk about the strategies and stuff beforehand and set up the game and stuff. And I'm excited for have 5 friends come in. 3 of you are in bombers, the other 2 are in like A-wings just as protecting you. And like just flying together and just like that kind of combat and strategic movement that's really fun. That sounds really cool just to do for a game. So yeah.
Yeah. Are you keen for this, Ash?
Yeah, I'm keen to check it out and give it a go. The only thing I'm like, is anybody going to want to play as TIE fighters? Because like the HUD is the design of the screen is so got that massive circle. I mean, I guess you're going to have no option at some point. I guess if you load into a mode, it's going to pick you. It's probably going to stick you on one team or the other, kind of like. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So you don't really, when you load in Battlefront 2, you don't pick if you want to play as the good guys or the bad guys.
You'll get used to it. I thought it was interesting in the bombers for the Imperial forces, because they're like kind of dual cabin. You're sitting in one side, like you don't even see like the full like windscreen or whatever. Like it's like it stretches off sight. Like, that's cool. That's like you are sitting in the position and properly in a first person view for it.
Yeah,
so.
I like the commitment to it all. Make sure it all works. Once again, though, is it going to be harder or better, more advantageous to play in VR for these games where you can possibly sneak glances around as you're driving, do these sorts of things.
Oh, well, I'd be interested to see if there is a mechanic to let you turn your head. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's good. Yeah, with the controller, that's interesting. I don't know. But I'm keen to find out more. It's funny because I started playing Battlefront 2 just as a side note. I jumped in, I was playing a couple hours Battlefront 2 right before the trailer dropped on Tuesday morning or whatever, because I haven't played it for like 6 months or whatever, probably longer at this point. But jumped in, having a lot of fun. They've added some things, changed some things. There's a whole bunch of new characters, heroes I haven't played as, but I was just playing I can't remember the official mode, like a skirmish one. Basically you did like super attack on the ground, and then you eventually if you deplete the enemy forces enough, it's like you have to run and get to the ship, and if you make it to the ship, it'll take you up to a bigger ship in space or whatever, and then you have to like attack in there, and if you fail that, then you come back down, and then the enemy team has a go at it. But when you're running to get to the ship, enough people have to get in to go up, but then the enemy team's trying to stop you, so it's like this dynamic battle thing. I was having a lot of fun. Once again, I was just saying that Star Wars Battlefront, it was horrible at launch. We all know that. All I'm going to say again, because it was on PS Plus, so people have it now, it's like the game is actually quite fun now, because it was terrible for like that first month or whatever, but
they fixed it.
Yeah, it's been quite some while. It's been like 2 years or whatever it is. Believe it or not, the game has got fixed in 2 years. I know, it's crazy. They took a while, but they got there. Good job, team. Good job, team. There was one mode I was playing as fucking Finn as well. Oh my god, these people jump, 3 people from behind start shooting at me. I turn around, bang, 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 headshot somehow. I was just like, fucking Finn. Jesus.
MLG!
Yeah.
MLG!
I was like,
get that kid on a contract for the esport.
Yeah, no. So talking about contracts, the next thing they talked about was Madden 21 and FIFA 21. That's cool for people that play games.
Can I say, how nice is it for EA to squish all their sports into
one thing? Section? Yeah.
Into one little section and being like, the EA Sports family. Like, yep. Cool.
Yeah, I picked up my phone, and then I was like, when it started wrapping up, I was like, oh, that was actually a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be, but that's good. So then they had a next gen scissor wheel. So in this video, it showed off what is presumably Dragon Age 4, Battlefield, whatever, Need for Speed, something or other, and apparently a EA Motive game, which may or may not be a Star Wars thing. It's unknown at this point, but I guess showing this was kind of cool. They didn't like fully commit to obviously showing any trailers for Dragon Age or anything like that, but we all know that's what it is because we know that they're working on a Dragon Age game, and what they shown in this is obviously looks like a high fantasy setting. That's easy to pick. They showed cars. Presumably that would be Need for Speed because I mean it could be another franchise, but like it's like yeah, it's Criterion, so let's just presume that. They showed a bunch of soldiers, like looked like 100 running along in a battlefield talking about how they can do so much more of next gen. Let's presume that's Battlefield because what else could it be at this point? You know, like I feel like there's pretty easy presumptions about this. I don't think anything in this was mind blowing to me. The character model of that like close up face with the eye and everything, that looked quite good, but like nothing in this was that looks even the cars look great as well. The cars
look good. It made me laugh in that Criterion section where they had like the top and bottom section of like current of like next gen and current gen, and the next gen was like the current gen was still loading and stuff, and I was like that doesn't actually like it shows us in theory the representation of it, but we have no idea what this loading time is for this.
No, I do because I've played the one that was shown. It takes forever to load. It does. It was Need for Speed. What came out last year? Fuck, I can't even remember what it's called.
It's not Rivals?
No, that's like 10 years ago. Come on. Whatever Need for Speed came out last year, that's the one that they were showing, and it does take forever to load. So it wasn't a lot. Now, I can't prove it loads faster on next gen, but I'm led to believe that it cannot be worse. You know, like let's just presume that. And then
Payback, was it? No, Heat. Need for Speed.
That's
Heat.
it. That's it. Heat sounds about right. Yes. And then
Payback was the one before it. That was like the Fast and Furious ripoff.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Didn't play it. Then the last reveal, which was kind of crazy, and even though it's like they didn't actually show anything, they didn't even officially announce a title, I'm okay with this being one of those let's announce and not talk about anything because fans have been screaming for so long. I think this was a fine, just let's announce it's a thing. So they announced that Skate, presumably Skate 4, but could be something else, is actually officially happening. We don't know when they started it, if they've actually even started it, or if they're still like in the pre-production phase. Who knows how far along or how many years this game's going to take to come out. Either way, we know that they're making another Skate. They literally call out the fact that they're making it because people kept screaming on the internet, which I have mixed feelings about. But as a fan of the first 3 games, I'm excited. I will fucking... What?
First 2 games, right?
It's 3 skates.
Is that 3?
It's 3 skates.
Is that really?
3 skates. You know how I know this? Skate 1, no trophies. Skate 2, got the platinum. Skate 3, got the platinum.
Fair enough, Dylan.
Skate 4 will have the platinum when it comes out.
If Skate 4 comes out with no platinum, get wrecked, Dylan.
I'm fucking disappointed. Yes, I'm very keen for this. Would you? How about you, Karen?
I'm interested in it. You know, it's funny that this bit did seem of like a hey guys, shut up, leave our comment sections alone now, please. We're doing it. We're doing as we're told. Just give us some time to make it. Like the fact that these guys are just talking about it now, it's like, oh, okay, this is 2 years off. Like if this is only just in development, starting development now, this is 2 years away.
Yeah, we don't know. They kind of said it in a way that it could have been in development for quite some time, and they just chose not to show anything yet because they don't have anything they like super good enough, or they could have started literally last week. You know, like
the fact that they didn't show anything is, I think that reads more along the lines of how far they are. Honestly,
maybe they just have been unable because of COVID to get a possibly like a good looking show of gameplay or a build or something in time for this. So who knows? They could show something off at the Game Awards or something, you know. Do another tease there. Ash, do you care about Skate at all?
No, not really. I just find it very amusing, like I said on Twitter, that they've only announced this after like 4 or 5 different skateboard games have been announced in the last 12 months.
I was about to say, to clarify, none of those have come out either. That's the other thing. Like Skater XL is in early access.
Session is currently in early access, yeah.
Yeah, Session's
Skater
early
XL
access.
in early access.
And Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remake is yet to come out. So all of these games is yet
Skate
to come.
Burbs is still in early access, I believe. And then they also showed that Skateboard Story trailer during the Guerilla Collective.
Yeah, that looked like a lot weirder though, to be fair.
That's much different, but still skateboard.
But this is the OG, you know? And I feel like
Is it the OG though?
Yeah. I mean, this game invented
it's in front of Tony Hawk?
Yeah, all of those control schemes those other games are using were invented by this game. This
is where the divide in skate games came from.
Yeah.
Was Skate 1 being released because everybody was like, wait, we don't just have to play Tony Hawk style arcade skaters.
Yeah, Skate kind of killed Tony Hawk in a lot of ways.
I wouldn't say killed.
Yeah, I would.
Nah, I would not agree on
I would because I kept buying the skate games and I stopped buying the Tony Hawk games. And all my friends did the same. All of my friends, and to be fair, I'm probably representing sort of a minutiae
different audience
here because all of my friends and myself at the time were actually skating.
Skaters.
But we all preferred to play skate because I would literally go to my friend's house. We would play skate. We would play the game Skate in the game. In case you don't know, it's like where you try and do tricks, and then if you fuck it up, you get the letter S, then K, the blah 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 blah. We would literally play this at my friend's house, do several rounds of this. We would then get on the bus and go do it at the fucking skate park. Like that's kind of how our weeks went. We played the skate games religiously, and the idea of playing Tony Hawk was absurd because those games looked like cartoons after the ability to play something that was more realistic, and we could actually watch it and play and would not get trained how to skate better, but you'd be able to actually sort of wrap your head around how to do the tricks by how you were doing the motion with your feet on the controller. You know?
But then I think there is an audience that wants those cartoony games.
I think there is now, but I think at the time that I think people were like, nah, we've had enough Tony Hawk. And now that there's been enough time, I think people are open to having both. I think at the time,
I don't think that's necessarily because of Skate, though. I think the quality of Tony Hawk games fell off dramatically after American Wasteland.
That's probably a thing as well. But as to like, can Skater XL and Session and Skate 4 all live in the same world? I'm going to say yes, because I know that Session and Skater XL are being designed with even more hardcore control scheme, like less wiggle room for fucking up the inputs and these sort of things. And those games aren't being designed with like a story or anything. They're literally just like big open sandbox worlds with a camera and recording system built in, so you can record and do cool spots and just record tricks and whatever else. Whereas when Skate 4 comes out, presumably based on the last 3 skate games, it'll have a mix of real life people in it, an actual story mode where you go from probably once again bum skater to hero, like world's famous Tony Hawk's up and coming by the end of it. And the stuff they started introducing in Skate 2 and 3, and maybe too much in 3, and that's the reason a lot of people didn't like 3 as much, they started introducing other stuff to draw in less of the hardcore skating crowd by having like stuff where you'd try and like hurt yourself or like bomb down hills or racing and whatever else. Skate 1 was probably the hardest of all 3 skate games, because that is the one where it was basically like you have to perfectly pull off these 5 tricks on this grind rail or you'll not pass the level. And that one was always the hardest to do because it was all just about mastering that control scheme, and there was no quote unquote fun stuff in it. And then 2 and 3 introduced like customize your skater, online things, the online lobbies where you can play skate with people, or you can do these weird things. You could go to fucking Bob Burnquist's house and play his stupidly large mega ramp and whatever else. So I would say 4 is probably going to be more like 2 and 3, obviously, and that means it's not going to be as hardcore as Session or Skater XL. So they can all exist, you know, and people probably want that hardcore one over Skate even. So yeah. And I mean, the reason Skate took off a couple of years ago was because PewDiePie fucking played it on Let's Plays, and then it all sailed out across EBs across the country. So that's how we got here.
Thanks, Pewds.
Shout out to PewDiePie, I guess. Yeah, sure. Let's talk about the next thing. So Pokemon Presents was announced like, I think 24, 48 hours prior to it happening, and it was about, I don't know, half an hour, probably a bit less, whatever it was, of announcements. Most of them weren't super exciting, but the major one was in the middle of it here, which we'll get to in a moment. So I'm going to run through them. So firstly, they announced Pokemon Smile, which is a toothbrushing game / app for kids. I saw a lot of people giving this shit on the internet. I get that everyone likes to jump to make memes so they can make those articles by Kotaku and Gizmodo where they like get internet famous because their hot takes are in the tweets and whatever else. But to me, I don't think this is something like Pokemon. And this may shock some people out there. Like some of you may need to fucking hold on to something for what I'm about to say. I'm going to shock you. Pokemon is for kids.
Like,
no! No!
Are you, how fucking dare you? How dare you offend me? Offend my child by saying it's for kids? What the fuck? What the hell, Dylan? Get off the show.
I know.
Fucking
no, it was for me and it was always for me.
Yeah.
I think, yes, because Ashley has always been an adult because we don't know his age. This is bullshit.
It's true.
I was there at the start of the franchise and it's always meant to be catered at me.
That's true. That's very, very true. That's a lot how
Pokemon has grown up with Ashley, okay? It's grown up with him.
And it doesn't want any new audience at all, or kids or anything. No. And honestly, I thought this was a cute little fun trailer. I think it's a free app. There's no microtransactions in it. I tried it out once just to download it and give it a go. It's kind of weird or whatever, but obviously it's the description literally says children can defeat the troublesome bacteria with skillful brushing to make and capture Pokemon appear. There's nothing like sort of sinister about it. It literally is just an app where to help kids brush their teeth the correct amount of time and they get rewarded for it. And what does Nintendo get out of it? I guess it is,
brand recognition.
I guess.
That's the only
getting in good with the parents, being like, hey,
I guess,
buy your kids a Switch and Pokemon because we've helped them learn how to brush their teeth properly.
Yeah.
We've saved you money on braces, family. Use that money on us.
Yeah, and I guess that is it. So I have no problem with it. So if you were complaining on the internet that the first game was this, that's something that annoys me. Whenever these events happen and they show like the thing that's not for you first, and then people automatically start spitting it, where do you want them to show the thing that's not for you? Because for me personally...
Blow the load.
What?
Blow the load early. Just
yeah,
blow the load
that's
early.
how I feel. Like, the fucking thing starts and it starts with this. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I don't want Pokemon Sleep or Pokemon Brush Your Teeth or Pokemon Help Me Take a shit.
Don't you want Pokemon
I don't
Sleep?
want Pokemon Potty Train halfway through the next Pokemon Presents. You know what I mean? Like... I don't want them halfway. I want them at the top end because then the good stuff is coming after, you know? Like, I just get over it. So next thing...
Imagine like Pokemon Potty Trainer.
I mean, they can... Honestly, Nintendo, if you're listening, have that one. It's fine.
If you start a game up and the game shows you, like, does a quick, like, run through all the spoilers of the game at the start, and then it's like, what's the point of playing the game now? Like, what's the...
Are you just going Pokemon Potty Train or the stream?
Just this, well, people being like, oh,
both,
but also both. But God damn it, making a mockery out of Pokemon Potty Trains.
Yeah, it's fine.
You evolve.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you evolve. So next game was a puzzle game called Pokemon Cafe Mix.
Oh,
yeah. What?
I was going to say I don't mind the art style in that the teeth thing.
Oh, the teeth thing of the little critters.
Of the little Pokemon.
Yeah, no, they
obviously
are cute.
between this and the next one, the art style is quite different. Too.
Yeah,
the basic that we know.
Pokemon style.
I appreciate that. And I've also seen that apparently it's quite hard, the brushing.
Yeah, it kept telling me to brush my teeth faster to the point where I'm like, look, I just got my wisdom teeth out and if I do this, my gums are probably going to bleed quite a lot, so I'm just not going to do it. So
I think maybe it's designed for smaller faces.
Maybe,
you know?
Yeah.
So that's why.
It's also...
Wait, are you saying... Why, Ashley, why would it be designed for smaller faces?
Because it's designed for kids, because that's what Pokemon's for! Yeah. Pokemon Cafe Mix, it's a free puzzle game that's coming to Nintendo Switch and Android and iOS. It's coming out, the date here, summer, June 24th, I think, something like that. Yep. So this week, I don't know why they, like, did the week anyway. Like they also had weird wording where they're like, "Oh, the game's coming, it's coming. You can download it now." But I kind of missed the part where they said pre-download, not download now, and I heard it wrong. So I went to the Nintendo Switch store, download it. I'm like, I'm gonna get into bed and play this once I'm done writing out this fucking news story. And then I clicked on it, and it's like, this game's not out yet. And I'm like, fuck you. But I don't really understand the full gameplay exactly how it works until I play it. But it basically it's like a giant ball machine of sorts, and it's got all these little Pokemon balls in there, and it is some sort of matching game where you've got to match, like, I think it's match 3 somehow, but I don't fully understand how or what is moving the
it's weird
mechanically. Yeah, it's like we'll get a better understanding when played, obviously. But other than that, outside the gameplay, what you're also doing is bringing people to your cafe, both visitors and employees, because your employees are, of course, Pokemon as well. And you start the game with one employee, and I think you'll get to pick between a handful of different Pokemon, including, I think, like Eevee and...
Wait.
No, I think you start with Eevee always. I think is how it works, yeah. You start with Eevee, and you get more.
Got to employ them all?
Yeah. Is now.
Awesome.
Is now. Awesome. And yeah, the art style is very adorable. It's like very colorful, very cute. Definitely a hashtag cuties game. And I'm keen to try it out because even though they do describe it as free to start, and that's because it's going to have microtransactions, which I'm fine with of a sort, because the last Pokemon free to play game that I tried out, I actually played a fair bit of and quite enjoyed, which was Pokemon.
No.
What the fuck was it called? It was a fucking
Quest.
Yes, Quest. Pokemon Quest. I played a heap of Pokemon Quest, and that was free to play, but I ended up spending like $30 on it anyway because I was like fucking 40 hours into it at some point after like however long, and then I was like, look, at this stage I can spend the money to buy this shit. So, and that one wasn't too egregious with what it wants you to spend, so I'm hoping this one's similar, but yeah, we'll find out. I'm kidding. You gonna try this one out, Ash? It's free, so...
Yeah, it's free.
Free?
Little puzzle game on my phone, so... something to do while I'm watching stuff. You know, swirl things around, level things up.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. And then the big one of the show came next during the event. And this was such weirdly placed and announced. And I know there's been a lot of talk about, like, was this the best time to announce it? And amongst all this other sort of throwaway announcements, and I'm going to say yes, because as far as I saw, at least on my Twitter, the internet wouldn't shut up about this for a good 24 hours. So I feel like it didn't really matter if it was squeezed in, and
it didn't matter where it came.
Yeah, and I guess the thing is that at the end of this Pokemon Presents, they announced there's another one coming next week with a big announcement. And the theory for that one is it's probably going to be Pokemon Let's Go Silver, Let's Go Gold, or whatever they're going to call that game, because it's the off year and there's always a Pokemon game, so it's probably going to be that. And if that's what they're announcing next week and they're going to focus on that, if they'd announced Pokemon Snap with that, I would be like, that's two pretty big reveals in one thing. Maybe that's why they separated Snap and these other random things into its own show this week. So next week they can solely focus on the big Pokemon game for the year. And if that's the case, then I'm perfectly kind of fine for it. So Pokemon Snap came out 20 years ago. It's a Nintendo 64 game. I've only played a brief period of it at a friend's house, but I played that like 10 years after it came out. Like it was, it wasn't at launch. So I don't have a major love for it, although I've always loved the general idea of the game. However, my time playing it, once again, it was 10 years after it came out. I was like, fucking Nintendo 64, garbage controller. This looks like shit. Why do people love this game? But the general idea of the game, I do like. Like it's literally about taking photos of Pokemon. And it would be an all-around cuties game. They didn't reveal anything about the game, really. They announced that it's called New Pokemon Snap. Description says, in New Pokemon Snap, you'll explore deserts, jungles, and more as you photograph fan-favorite Pokemon and discover never-before-seen Pokemon expressions and behaviors. It's in development. Could come out this year, could come out next year. Honestly, who knows how far along they are, I guess. Like, a lot of the trailer also says not full gameplay, not full, whatever the proper wording is, like not final game footage, not final.
Not final product.
Yeah, game footage not final. Hold on, I just clicked on try. Game footage not final. So who knows how far along they are? But I'm definitely keen. It looks cool. I like the way the game looks. It looks quite beautiful. I'd be keen. Kieran, would you take pictures of Pokemon?
Damn straight, always, every time. Like, have you seen the cute and compromising positions they're often in when you take pictures of them? It's real good. Ashley's face.
Yeah, I think it's because you said the word compromising it, and that's when his head kind of turned sideways. He's like, what?
Well, sometimes Pikachu is just in a different, you've caught him making a cake and the batter's gone everywhere.
Sure. Sure. Ash. Yeah. Ash, pass the baton.
No. Wait, I can fix this. He's like, he's beating eggs.
Pass the baton. It's a tag rally. Ash, would you be keen for Pokemon Snap?
Yeah, I'll be keen for this. I'm surprised that obviously it's taken 20 years for them to do it. A sequel or a new version. I mean, I remember playing the game back in the day. It was a fun experience, like taking photos. Obviously, in my mind, it would work as like even something that iterate on, like they release a couple extra like scenarios or levels or whatever you want to call them, where
parks.
I mean, really, it's just like a park ride that you go around and you can just take photos in. So they just need to invent a different story or location each time. So, I mean, there's potential there for DLC potentially, right? Or I guess many future installments.
Yeah, make it a games of service Pokemon Snap. For years to come. No one ever asked about Pokemon Snap ever again. Nintendo's like, here, have it forever. Now shut the fuck up.
It's a platform.
It's a platform. Damn right. Yeah, roll your film in forever, everyone. Get excited. So keen to find out more about that. And then the next two were
keen to see all the photos shared on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm sure when the game comes out, I'm sure that'll be like the start of Animal Crossing all over again. It'll just be like fucking...
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch Cherie and Dylan share photos with each other across Twitter. It's just going to be, look at all the cuties.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this Pikachu. Oh, look at the picture I took of Pikachu. And then you can put camera filters, like full on, like photo mode in all the other games. So you can make it black and white.
I'll tell you what, if any game needs a photo mode for the Nintendo Switch, it's probably Pokemon Snap. That's kind of where the bar
change the contrast,
bare minimum.
Banners and stuff,
bare minimum. Then the last two things I'd just quickly go over because they're not much to talk about for us. But Pokemon Go Fest is probably going to they tease Vicinti. I think Victini. I'm not actually sure how to say it, to be completely honest. So they teased that for Pokemon Go Fest. Pokemon Go Fest, once again, July 25th and July 26th. They did put up the price. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I did check it the other day in the app. I think it's like 20-something dollars, because I know last time we talked about this, I was like, I wonder how much the tickets will be, because obviously the real life Pokemon Go Fest was usually like somewhere between $50 to $100, I think, or something like that. But obviously that was like a full-blown event where there was like stuff there to see and do, and they'd have stuff set up. So it's $20 for an in-game event, roughly, I think, off the top of my head. So that was a thing. And also they had Galarian Farfetch'd in the game for a day. I caught one, and then I forgot to check again the next day because I was too busy doing something, which was kind of annoying because I wanted to try and catch a couple more. But at least I did remember that night to check and caught my one. That's cool because I like Galarian Farfetch'd because he carries around a fucking leak. Can't evolve it though, which is a bit annoying because he evolves into a big boy that smashes you over the face, and that's great. Yes, Karen.
Do you know like Farfetch'd aren't allowed on boats in the Pokemon world?
Is that real?
Because there's always a leak when they get on.
Wow. That's
I love how Ashley no-sold that reaction.
I was like, please. And then you said it. Okay, there we go. And then the last thing they showed off was they were like, hey, the Pokemon expansion's out. Yes, it is. Get excited. Apparently, I haven't played it. I actually want to, but I haven't played it. There's been other things, of course. But looks cool. But then they also announced that they're doing a Zora raid at the moment. It's from, where do I have the dates here? June 17th to the 28th of June, they have a Zora raid going. You cannot capture it. However, if 1 million people beat Zora across the entire world, then everyone will be able to get a Pokemon a shiny version of Zero through Pokemon Home, and then obviously you can transfer it into your Pokemon Sword Shield game. That is cool. I don't think there's like any online rolling tally of how many people have defeated Zeroras in the game yet in raids, but I'm hoping everyone does it for me because I'm definitely not strong enough in that game to go help defeat these raids. However, if everyone does it, I will claim my free Pokemon Home. That's for sure. I will happily do that with no problem at all. And that is everything from the Pokemon Presents. Overall, I think it was a fine little presentation. I think the one other key takeaway from this is the fact that they've moved the naming away from Nintendo Direct and then like saying, hey, this is a Nintendo Direct focused on Pokemon, and instead they simply called this Pokemon Presents, which apparently is going to be the branding, I guess, for Pokemon Direct type things going forward. They're not going to call them Nintendo Direct,
or
I don't think.
Or it's more a Pokemon Company focused.
Yeah, I guess.
Was it streamed on Nintendo, or was it on Pokemon?
That's a good question. I would presume it would be on both, though, right? I would presume it would be on Nintendo and Pokemon. That would be a bit weird if it was only on Pokemon, because all the announcements here are for the Pokemon games. They're not just for like they're not merch and TV show and like it's not the entire Pokemon thing. But and the one next week, that's called Pokemon Presents as well. That's what they said. They're like Pokemon Presents is happening next week on whatever the day is. Friday, I think it was exactly a week away. I think is what the thing was. Do I have it in my little calendar here on my Googles? Is it? Do I have it here? And move the mic out of the way so I can see. I can't see it there. Maybe I don't. Maybe I do. And I can't see it. Who knows? Anyway, I think it's Friday. So I think that's the other interesting thing from that. Anyway, Pokemon.
So yeah, it was a Pokemon official YouTube channel video. So it's not necessarily a Nintendo Direct. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, it's not a Nintendo Direct.
I'm sure Nintendo were in the loop, but like Pokemon are making their own announcements for certain things. Yeah, obviously the stuff in this Presents wasn't Nintendo Switch focused, so it made sense.
Yeah, but if the rumors are about the Pokemon reveal on the next one, that's a Switch focus, and it's not a Nintendo Direct. It's Pokemon Presents. You know,
maybe they're just letting Pokemon make the announcement.
Good,
easier.
They deserve to. You know.
They've been carrying Nintendo for too long.
Yeah, damn right. They've been carrying their ass for a long, long time now. So next week's episode, obviously, more Pokemon Presents and something else that Crash will probably be out and some other game reveals. So at the E3 week 2 continues. Look forward to us talking about E3 week 3 next week.
Let's see. So we got the developer showcase. We got New Game Plus Expo, the Marvel Avengers War Table.
That's right. Yep.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
Sounds like a stacked week.
Maybe Bit Summit Gaiden.
No, we don't care about that.
Before our recording, yeah.
But that's our E3 week 3 next week, everyone. So I'm going to quickly go over our main topics introduction, and then you'll know what we're talking about. So Press Start writes, Last of Us Part 2 is always going to be diverse, but seems to me bringing out the worst in gamers. The game is being heavily review bombed on Metacritic by people who seemingly haven't played the game, let alone finished it. Within 12 hours of releasing across the world, which basically means you cannot have finished it because it's impossible to beat that game in 12 hours. It had already amassed 17,000 user reviews on Metacritic, with it currently sitting at a 3.3 out of 10 average. For reference, God of War only has 12,000 user reviews and has a score of 9.1. Spider-Man has 4,494 user reviews on Metacritic with a user score of 8.6. Now, I'm not going to read over why, because I also haven't looked through the whys and the hows. I've got the general gist from what I've seen people talk about on Twitter. Mostly it's SJW garbage, but
yes, that is what is heavily featured.
And this isn't focused. I just want to clarify. We're not focusing on the Last of Us aspect here, although that is kicking off point. But because I just want to turn it into like user reviews in general. But also if you're like, hey, why haven't you talked about The Last of Us this week? Yes, I'm playing it. Yes, Kieran's playing it. I think we can say we're enjoying it. We've not finished it.
And it's really hard to talk about without spoiling anything in the game.
I mean, we
Like-
also do a PlayStation podcast every week
Correct, which
that we
will-
need content for.
I mean, not to behind the closed door too often, but sometimes I double dip. I'm like, hey, I finished Uncharted Lost Legacy, and I talk about it on 2 podcasts, and that's fine.
I think
Because I don't expect people to
I
listen to every podcast. But yeah, like we will be talking more about The Last of Us on this upcoming Wednesday's episode of Platinum Explosion. It will be spoiler free ish, probably. I don't
and then if we've both finished, I'm sure
We'll have a spoiler. We'll have a
cast.
spoiler free, a spoiler cast out ASAP following the time when we both
Yeah.
finish it, pretty much. So that'll be this coming week. This week.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is out Monday. So yeah, this week at some point, I would say you can expect a spoiler cast about The Last of Us. I would say, but without focusing too much on The Last of Us thing, because obviously it seems the game's getting review bombed because. And I'm not sure if there's more to it, but obviously, just to sum it up in simplest words, I'm like, is it getting review bombed because she's gay? Like, is that,
I think it's. There's also like people were like pissed off of Neil Druckmann for something that wasn't even Neil Druckmann's fault. That Laura Bailey had to come out and kind of.
yeah, I saw her
debunk.
tweet, but I didn't understand what her tweet was even.
I think there's something later. I only kind of worked it out.
Okay.
There's something later in the game that past what you and me have got to.
Okay. This is why I'm not
that
looking
kind
into
of-
any of it because I'm like, I don't want
Yes.
spoilers or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's
But
spoilers a little bit.
all of this week has made me wonder, why do people do it and who actually cares about user reviews? So I'll just say straight up, no, I've never cared about user reviews for movies, games, TV. The only time I've cared about user reviews potentially is if I've looked up like a tech product, and like sometimes even I'll go like the bottom of JB Hi-Fi's page and it's got like 6 ratings on there for like a headset or something, and I see it's being rated poorly, and usually then I'll just Google for a proper review anyway. But that's the only time I really even look for tech stuff. When it's come to movies, TV, games, I've never cared about user review sections on IMDb, Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, whatever else. Obviously Metacritic and is sort of the top user review one that people always call out. Do you care about user reviews at all, Kieran, or have you ever for anything?
I think coming from somebody who has been on Steam a lot, user reviews are a fucking meme. Like
There's literally
like
there's literally a Twitter account that's like Steam user
yeah,
reviews.
like user reviews are actually just funny to read because sometimes you just like you have to work out if people are just trolling or if they're legitimately. Like half the time, it's like, are they legitimately this stupid?
You mean because it's like a game is absolute worst. Don't know why I paid any money for this fucking broken garbage. Playtime 687 hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what? That doesn't make sense. Well, at least you've given it a fair chance, I guess. I think I hate people that review bomb. I think review bombing anything is just ridiculous. Like it's just like it's just so childish and so pointless and just like, what do you think you're going to affect the sales or the views of that thing? Like, you think you're gonna have any impact on that whatsoever by review bombing? No. Anybody who's worth their time and worth their effort in a game is not going to take any notice of your reviews. If they're not going to take they're not going to change their opinions because of it. If you lose somebody whose opinion has been affected because of these review bombs, you're like, you know what? You're probably somebody I don't want playing my games. Because if you've been swayed so hard by this kind of bullcrap, especially in terms of The Last of Us content and the content of these, poor reviews that people are putting up, they're not really the type of people you want associated with your games anyway. So screw it.
Ash, have you ever cared for user reviews?
Not overly. I think to defend Steam, I think the ones that they highlight generally are pretty good, especially for games that have been out for a while.
Oh, you mean from curators though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's basically
Like the
like
main-
critic reviews nearly. Like it's like halfway there. Like at least it's some barrier to entry.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle. Like I'm sure like the latest review of something is probably not going to be the best. But I mean, overall, I feel like I tend to just mostly look at like critical things. I mean, I probably weigh the Rotten Tomatoes score more than I would the IMDb score, or the Metacritic score more than the IMDb score. So, I mean, it's fine. It's nice that people can put their opinions out there. I don't think it matters a hell of a lot. I mean, Unless there's like a very distinct sway between critical opinion and audience opinion, but that is like a very rare circumstance, or like
The Last of Us and The Last Jedi.
Which I think is very interesting.
That's true. That is.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when there is that diversity between critic thinking and user thinking, when both sides are legitimate, when both sides are doing it because they've actually tried it and they actually have a critical opinion of the piece. Whether this stuff is, people that are clearly just angry that the views and opinions of this game do not line up with their own and want to see it be, persecuted because of it.
I would find it highly surprising if a game that has anywhere of if a game has or a movie has anywhere in the 90s or whatever, which means most people are giving it, 9s, 10s or whatever. And the user review, if the user score is this Last of Us thing where it's in the 3s or whatever, it's not that you could tell straight away it's not that they're having mismatched thought process here. It's just obviously being review bombed. I feel like anything, you can usually tell. It's if the Metacritic score or whatever is in your high 70s or low 80s or something like that, and you click through it and there's a bunch of people that gave it 9s, maybe 110, and there's a bunch of people that gave it 6s or something like that, and then the user scores around the 6 or 7 mark anyway, and it's okay, so there's a couple critics that push this one up higher with their 9s or 10s, but then there's also a lot of critics that gave this the same score as the user score, but Metacritic weights some scores higher, so then maybe that 10 from a certain outlet pushed the score up higher because it was from a Rolling Stone or a Hollywood Reporter or something like that. You know what I mean? Above other sorts of things. Because people don't fully understand, I guess, how a lot of these sites work. Because you see people online still complaining about Rotten Tomatoes all the time. Rotten Tomatoes gave it this, Rotten Tomatoes gave it that, for movies. And Rotten Tomatoes didn't give nothing shit. Rotten Tomatoes is an aggregate site. Metacritic is an aggregate site. Yeah. These places aren't reviews, but people always word it Rotten Tomatoes gave it. Rotten Tomatoes didn't give a shit. They didn't do shit. No one's gave it anything. Yeah. What are you talking
Rotten
about?
Tomatoes, they're just stealing other people's content. That's all they do.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, so I don't understand. That's the thing that's confused me so much about this last thing. I don't understand what review bombing does, because you're not review bombing the score that matters to most people, which is the critic score, because that's the one that's going to get put on trailers and say it has a 96 Metascore or whatever. It's not going to say it has a 3.8 user score. Where the fuck would anyone use that? If you ever watch a trailer for anything and it says, hey, it has a something Metascore of users, you're going to go, why are they showing the user score? And is it because the users have rated a little higher than the critics? Because that would be quite weird. Straight away that's going to be sus. So I don't understand what user score bombing does other than maybe help you blow off some steam. And I don't understand who looks at the user scores other than the people that are probably also bombing the user scores.
I think for most people that use user reviews to bomb things, it's a vocal minority, as with many things online. And what happens is the reason they catch steam or the reason they get momentum is because people with similar opinions or similar viewpoints find those as places to kind of put themselves in a vacuum chamber filled with the same opinion. That nobody's disagreeing with them, everybody's yelling the same thing. The majority of people that are loving something, that are really enjoying something, or just think a game's really good, they aren't going to go and write a review. They're not going to, majority of people aren't going to take their time out of the day to write a review or write one of these Metacritic scores, because they're not into that. That's why they go to critics to see it. That's why I always find user reviews and user scores fairly useless, because there's so many different things that can affect that and influence that, so it's not a just and fair percentage or score. One user can make multiple accounts and highly affect the review number score for all users.
Which people proved that was happening to The Last Jedi back in the day. Someone wrote this whole article proving there was lots of bot accounts being made to do it, and so on and so forth. Who knows if that's happening with The Last of Us? Wouldn't fucking surprise me at this point, knowing these sorts of people, weird things that people get off doing.
It'd be the similar sort of people that did it to Last Jedi will be doing it too.
Yeah. Wouldn't surprise.
Last of Us.
Wouldn't really surprise me. The other thing that I have found quite interesting of this, obviously to tie in all this, is that a lot of people writing the user scores are obviously bringing up the whole like everyone's paid off, like Sony paid off to get all these reviews, blah 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 blah. And I always find that fascinating too, because I don't understand the narrative there or the disconnect between some of these people. I think just live in an alternate reality, like
Very much so.
And I think I've pointed this out before, but I'll bring it up every fucking 6 months if I have to. You cannot, that's a start sentence. You cannot support content creators who fail to like disclose that they're streaming something for free and they're basically doing pay promotion, which I still see happen, not as rare as it used to like a year ago, but I still every now and then see happening. And then you say that a reviewer got paid off because they got paid high. The only people who are getting paid off like sort of dodgily, in my opinion, are still just content creators, right? YouTubers or Twitch streamers. I still think some weird stuff happens there, and there's still a disconnect in like how to properly say that you were basically given this to basically do an ad. You are being brought to do an ad, and I have no problem with that. Like I like that's kind of the direction for a lot of people going, and they're going to make their livings doing that and whatever else. But as long as it's upfront that you're basically being paid to do an ad, like you're being paid to play the game and like the game and enjoy the game and have fun with the game. Now that's not the case for everyone. I'm sure, some streamers and YouTubers are given the game for like review purposes and then they are free to shit on them. However, other people are giving games to basically promote it, and that means you're now a fucking ad. You're a walking, talking ad. And but I always, once again, just find a disconnect between people being like, fuck the critics, journalists is dead. I only get my gaming news from insert YouTubers like over here who are probably doing these sorts of weird things. I find it so odd.
It was one of the big things with The Last of Us coming into it, where there was a bit of kind of like Lois like talking about how, people were giving this game 10s, but they can't talk about some of the flaws of the game because of the embargo, because it would break embargo due to spoilers about that ramifications that has to it. And a lot of people are coming out and say, well, that doesn't mean this game isn't a 10. Just because they can't directly mention a fault or something that they had with the game doesn't mean that they still don't think it's a 10. If you read, a lot of people have this belief that 10 means that a game is a perfect thing. That it's absolutely perfect, nothing's wrong with it. But if you read a lot of these like kind of destinations, especially IGN's kind of their definitions of their scores, 10 is not perfect, it's just a masterpiece where there can still be errors in the game, but it has some kind of significance or importance or is that good. It's, people, as we've talked about previously on this podcast, review scores are really shit. Where nowadays people think that a 7 is bad. When a 7 is, the game's good, it's average, it's middle of the road. There's nothing too amazing about it, but it's not a bad game. Where a lot of people will see a 7 and go, well, that's a shit game, I'm not picking that up.
Yeah.
It's just too many people are now affected by critical review scores of being higher than a 7, and it affects people too much. And now reviewers across the freaking organization of business is, across the board are worried about giving, well, a lot of people who are worried about their relationships with, developers are giving games higher scores than maybe they would do because they don't want to seem like they're undercutting or cutting off their game or kind of biting the hand that feeds them. I recently retweeted a video that Alana Pierce brought out about discussing reviews and everything. And, the big thing she said, the reason that you don't see places like IGN give out a lot of low scores is because they can't physically review everything, and they're not going to review the bad stuff.
They're only reviewing stuff that's going to bring in a lot of traffic, and that means basically AAA, AA games, and the majority of the time, surprise, surprise, things that have lots of money in them are good or quite good.
Yes, exactly. It's like they're they're not reviewing everything. So they're not reviewing the stuff that deserves 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
It's
they're
not worth
reviewing everything that comes out on Steam every single week. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like then they're just reviewing. So when you don't see them giving 1s or 2s, that doesn't mean that there's not bad games out there. There are definitely those level of tier bad games. It's just they don't have the time to. And when you see your small content creators coming out with every game under the sun, and you're like, fuck, IGN have just come out and said they can't review everything yet. People who are 1 or 2 people for an outlet are trying to review absolutely everything. It's insane. It's ridiculous, and it's really kind of puts into perspective what organizations and smaller outlets should be trying to strive for.
It's like, just to jump in on that, if you go to most websites, most video game reviewers at most sites will review like 1 or 2 games a month kind of thing. Like they're not reviewing game after game after game after game after game. And like, not to blow smoke up my own ass, but obviously that's what kind of happens with me here, where most of the time if I'm having stuff roll through, it's like I'm from one thing to another to another, and it is like you don't see IGN doing that because those people don't have to do that and they can focus on other things. However, if I finish doing something and it's like, here's an opportunity to review something, even if it's a fucking indie game, I'm like, well, I've got nothing else going on. It is content. We need the clicks, or anything that could potentially bring in clicks. Of course, I'm going to do it. And that's why, or even if I don't have a code and I review fucking Forza Street on mobile because I had nothing else going on that week, and I was like, oh, fuck, I'll review this. And then I gave it a 3. Has IGN reviewed Forza Street? No, because it probably didn't get many clicks. No one cares.
And even just from behind the scenes of just when Dylan talks to us about doing reviews and his work and his articles, Dylan always wishes that he could do more. He's always telling me that he doesn't do enough. But where at the same time, I'm like, Dylan, you do so. Like, I'm like, Dylan, you overwork yourself. Like you do too much sometimes, and I think it just puts into perspective for people that are putting out mass amounts of reviews on their own. It's like, no wonder. Like, of course you feel overworked. Of course you feel stressed. Of course you like. I think it's just people in general need to kind of reset their expectations for different content creators and reviewers and. We've steered off topic a little bit from the user review discussion, but I think it's all part of the same kind of discussion.
Review related.
It's all reviewing. Reviewing's in the name. Where I think people need to reset their expectations of your smaller, more independent outlets that are driving their things. And if you are a small independent outlets, at the same time, I need to say to you, if you're listening, it's okay to not review everything. Like, chill the fuck out and review. Primarily, first, what you want to review, but don't feel like you need to stretch or cut corners to make sure that you review everything under the sun, because it doesn't make a difference.
Which is why, as much as I try to do as much as I can, I also don't take as much as I could, like code-wise, because I'm never going to like take something and be like, especially for a lot of ports I see come through for games I've played. Because I'm like, if I don't, I'm not going to like play 10 minutes of Borderlands on the Switch, for instance. Like the Handsome Collection that just came out. I don't want to get to a stage where I'm like playing that for an hour and going, yeah, it's Borderlands, 8 out of 10. And start like justifying stuff like that. I don't want to get to
also,
that
it's like the same thing. It's also like for people who put out reviews that like for 2 or 3 games in the space of 2 or 3 weeks that are all 30 to 40 hour games, and you're like, how are you putting yourself through those games like that? Like, how is that? No, stop. It's unhealthy for you. Give yourself a break.
I started Persona, then I paused, then I played Doom Eternal, then I went back to Persona.
And I was worried about you. I was so worried during that time where you did those 3 games. Because I was like, this is insane.
Then we jumped into Final Fantasy. It's fine. Ash, do you have any thoughts on all of this?
No, I think we covered most things. I mean, yeah, we'd like to do more, but, don't have enough. So, Ko-fi.com/explosion.
I mean, it is one of those things where, like, so I buy a Tats Lotto ticket every now and then, right? Because,
Fuck
I
it.
hate my
That'd
life.
be
I hate my
nice.
life, and money would fix it.
because you want to keep me in a job.
I mean, that is also, kind of, that's true. But I'm always like, oh, if I got $1 million, it wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna buy a fucking studio or some shit. Well, the way to literally grow the website with money would actually just be to start properly
Doing more.
paying people to do shit. Like,
And be a full-time content creator.
well, that too. Like, it would mean
Like
that
an
I
actual
could.
full-time
It would mean that I
content
could do it full time. But it would also mean that I could be like, I would have money to spend on like freelancers, which would
You'd also have,
grow
like,
the
okay,
site quite a bit. Honestly,
Let's pay for a video editor. You could be a video editor. It means we can do more video content because we can just record something and then be like, there you go. Thanks for editing.
like
See you
there's definitely like me being able to quit my job would help a lot, but also money would help more than anything. Let's be honest, money just solves the problems we need.
Money solves most things, yeah.
So if
Money does buy happiness.
Money does
everybody.
buy
Fuck the Saturday morning cartoons that told you otherwise. Money is the tits.
Good job. Do it there. I'm not going to do any question show this week. I think I'm going to try and remember to do it a different way, which is potentially tweet out a question on I can't decide what day, but I was like, maybe instead of doing the question during the show, I should start trying to do the question a couple days before the show, and then we answer the question, like the three of us, and also potentially read answers.
So what you're saying is the question of the show is, what should we do with the question of the show?
Well, I was thinking about the week. I'm like, because I was obviously when a month ago, I was like, I'll start trying to do this question of the show thing to make it a thing. But then I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I always make the question of the show something that we've just been talking about, but I'm like, it could be more interesting if I pick the question of the show and that's something we could also answer as well. So it's not just a passive thing. You know what I'm saying? There you go. There's the. Lots of meta talk. It's fun.
The question is,
we're very open.
Would you like that?
Yeah, we're very open at Explosion Network. Like to explain what's happening, in our lives and what's going on. You can find us all on Twitter, of course, explosionnetwork.com/Twitter. You can let us know any questions or things you would like to know. Send in topics for the show. Mail at explosionnetwork.com. Subject line Arcade Couch. And until next week, same time, same couch. More. Whatever we're talking about next week. Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, spin.
E3's week 3.
Week 3 next week. Boy. Hey, don't forget you can subscribe to the show wherever you're currently listening, and you can drop a review if you can. Find more great shows like this and more content over at explosionnetwork.com, and please consider supporting us for as little as $1 over on our Ko-fi page by heading to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thanks for listening.